The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council shimmered under the gentle azure glow of countless astral projections. High Counselor Ethan stood with his 4 hands clasped behind his back, his large eyes focused on a small, seemingly ordinary yellow sun. "Magnify the third planet," he commanded. The holographic interface shifted to reveal a blue-green sphere, partly veiled by clouds, appearing serene at first glance, though the data scrolling beside it suggested otherwise. "This data looks incorrect," said Lily, Ethan's aide, her iridescent skin shifting from its usual lavender to a troubled charcoal. "The readings show a tremendous surge in artificial satellites and these energy profiles." She indicated the blinking crimson symbols populating the display. Ethan nodded in quiet acknowledgement. "When was our most recent observation?" 50 standard cycles ago," Lily answered. "They were still using crude combustion engines. They hadn't even reached their satellite moon." The doors of the council chamber slid open, allowing 12 envoys from the galaxy's dominant species to enter and settle around the circular table, each wearing a look of growing alarm. "Esteemed members," Ethan began, "we've noted alarming shifts on Nova, the world its inhabitants name Earth. Their technical advancement has escalated well beyond all our models." Elder Morris, the oldest figure present, his wrinkled skin draping loosely over his lean frame, leaned forward. "Show us." The hologram expanded, playing footage from remote survey drones. Earth's orbit teemed with satellites, many seemingly built for military use. On the planet's surface, large complexes resembling defense structures had cropped up in remote regions. "They're gearing up for conflict," remarked Damon, the Council's military advisor, his deep voice echoing in the hall. "But against whom? No starfaring civilization has contacted them." Science Officer Martin adjusted his breathing mask before speaking. "Most troubling is this." A gesture brought up an image of a rough but unexpectedly advanced fleet of spacecraft departing Earth's moon. "They've established a lunar stronghold and are venturing beyond, with armed vessels." Concerned murmurs spread among the gathering. "Play the transmissions we intercepted," Ethan instructed. The chamber filled with translated human speech. "Orbital defense satellites fully operational. Jupiter outpost reports no abnormalities. Deep space radar detects no new signals, but we remain on defense readiness too. Mars colony confirms shield array completion. Earth Command says we're prepared for their arrival." A hush gripped the council once the audio ended. "Arrival?" asked Ambassador Willow, her delicate expression revealing her puzzlement. "Whose arrival do they anticipate?" Ethan shook his head. "Unclear, but they clearly await a hostile force. Has some of the race contacted them covertly?" Elder Morris wondered. "Impossible," said Damon. "We monitor every transmission in the vicinity." Lily stepped closer. "High Counselor, there's more. Our extended scans show human ships moving beyond their star's boundary, heavily armed and in regimented formations." The hologram changed to depict these crude yet functional craft pushing into the cosmic void. "This defies everything we know about a civilization's evolutionary pace," Martin noted, his voice quavering slightly. "They've accomplished in decades what should have spanned centuries." Ethan regarded the imagery, his mind spinning. The Council's stance was always hands-off with developing worlds, initiating contact only after certain technical and cultural benchmarks were met. Earth had been far below those benchmarks the last time they checked. "They're behaving as though an invasion is imminent," Ethan said at length. "But who do they think is coming? And why are they so sure they must attack first?" The gathered representatives exchanged uneasy looks as the projection tracked the human ships advancing outward like an army preparing for combat. "Whatever they're bracing for," Elder Morris warned, "we risk being swept up in the fallout." 3 days after that crisis assembly, the Council regrouped, grim-faced. Intelligence Officer Noah stood at the center, his slender body tense while he delivered his findings. "Honored Council," he began, "I've come through an enormous volume of human transmissions. The results are disturbing." The screen lit up with human broadcasts, military orders, and public statements, all rendered into the Council's language. "Humans believe they're on the verge of an alien onslaught," Noah explained. High Counselor Ethan leaned forward. "But that's impossible. No species intends to approach Earth." "Correct," Noah replied. "Yet their entire planet has unified to confront this imaginary foe. Observe." The display showed global leaders allied under a single flag, former rival nations now cooperating. Military displays showcased weapons built expressly for interplanetary warfare. Even children rehearsed emergency drills in schools. "What caused this?" Ambassador Willow asked. "Why do they assume an invasion is coming?" No pressed a button, revealing a hazy depiction of a spindly gray figure with large black eyes. This figure dominates their culture, called Greys. Numerous accounts claim these beings visited Earth, abducting humans for experiments. Earth expects their return. Elder Morris's gaze sharpened. That silhouette? It resembles no race among us. Indeed, No replied, but it aligns with descriptions of the Voidborn, a civilization believed lost over 500 cycles ago. Martin frowned. Records show the Voidborn explored extensively. Did they reach Earth prior to their extinction? If so, Damon said, they broke council regulations by interfering with the developing world. Liley, scanning a console, said, "More developments, High Counselor." Our sensors reveal humans near Proxima, establishing what looks like a fortified outpost. A somber hush settled over the room. Proxima, a mere 4 light-years from Earth, was practically next door on the galactic scale, and it was the first star system beyond their own that humans had colonized. "We must initiate contact," Ethan stated. "Tell them no threat exists." Respectfully, Damon objected. "That's risky. They're primed for war. They might assault a council vessel before we can clarify. And our policies are explicit," Elder Morris pointed out. "No contact until a species reaches the recognized stage of maturity." "But they're skipping those stages," Robin argued. "See this." The image shifted to highlight a human craft, its boxy frame lacking the council's elegance, but sensor data unveiled a shocking secret. "Their propulsion design," Martin described, "it's unlike anything else. They prioritize raw velocity and firepower over the efficiency we prize." "How could they do this?" Robin mused. "Fear," No answered quietly. "Their entire society has been molded by the draw to defend themselves. Every scientific leap, every resource, funnels into that cause." Ethan circled the table, glancing at the starships and outposts. "Everything has changed," he acknowledged. "We can't just stand by, but direct interaction might be catastrophic." At that moment, Liley gasped. "High Counselor, a human scout craft just passed within 2 units of our observation station in their system. They shouldn't have noticed it. Our cloaking can't hide from whatever scanning method they have." Martin finished, sounding stunned. "They spotted our post." Anxious looks passed among the council. "What will they do now?" Robin asked in a hushed tone. Damon's face hardened. "If they believe an incursion is imminent, detecting an alien base only confirms their suspicions." Ethan said grimly, "We have become the menace they've been expecting." The display's alert flashed crimson as alarms sounded. The human scout had turned, heading straight for the outpost. The station's staff barely escaped, their ship limping home, battered by projectiles supposedly incapable of breaching their shields. The subsequent emergency meeting was bleak. Martin reported on the terrifying capabilities of human armaments. They don't employ standard plasma or beam weaponry. They fire physical slugs at velocities so high they function almost like energy bolts. Damon sneered, "That's archaic." "No," Martin corrected, "it's different. Our shields were designed to withstand energy blasts. These solid rounds just slip through." Ethan stared at the structural damage. "How did they obtain such knowledge so fast?" "I've been analyzing that," Martin replied, triggering a new holographic timeline of human progress. "Notice this jump right after the rumored Voidborn visitation. Their growth accelerated drastically, as if they reverse-engineered some glimpses of advanced tech." "That can't be," Elder Morris said. "No primitive species could replicate Voidborn science." "They didn't copy it," Martin clarified. "They built systems to defeat it. Their entire technological branch is tailored to overcome what they observed. By doing so, they've invented solutions we never conceived." Liley stepped forward, referencing new scan results. "Human squadrons have been spotted near 3 more frontier sectors. Their maneuvers make no sense, constantly shifting routes, splitting up, then regrouping. Our trackers struggle to keep pace." Damon's eyes widened. "They're searching, maybe for signs of this perceived enemy." Suddenly, the chamber doors swung open, and a messenger hurried in, whispering to Ethan, whose features grew more severe. "The human scout destroyed our observation station," Ethan declared. "No loss of life, since we'd evacuated, but they seized portions of our equipment before obliterating it." A ripple of shock overtook the group. "Display their updated capacity," Elder Morris requested. Martin complied, revealing advanced Earth vessels, larger and bristling with additional weaponry. They still looked rough by council standards but were undeniably formidable. "This particular craft alarms me," Martin said, highlighting a stealth-enabled ship. "Its stealth method doesn't absorb or bend light. It blends with cosmic background signals. Our instruments see it as random debris or a faint gas pocket. How many such ships? Damon asked. We're unsure, Martin admitted, but their manufacturing potential is astonishing. Entire asteroids have been converted into mobile factories, and their Mars colony is now a gigantic military installation. Ambassador Robin shook her head, incredulous. All this because of an invasion that never was, unless— Elder Morris finished the thought, unless we become that invasion. Convinced we're the returning Greys, they'd open fire without hesitation. Ethan paced, arms clasped behind him. We must learn more about their power before choosing a course. As though answering him, the primary screen flickered to show a human vessel appearing near a distant Council research station, broadcasting Earth's first direct message to any Council outpost. In crisp English, translated at once, it read, "Unidentified craft, this is Earth Defense Vessel Storm. You have encroached on a restricted zone. Identify or be engaged." The Council stared in disbelief. The humans had discovered a station on their own and now demanded answers. They shouldn't have made it there so quickly, Damon muttered. Our swiftest ships take twice the time. We've clearly underestimated them, Ethan remarked solemnly. The Council debated for hours. Some wanted to ignore Earth's ultimatum. Others favored obliterating that ship as an example. Ultimately, Ambassador Robin's plan was approved. We must talk. Explain we aren't a threat. So diplomatic craft, the Breeze of Dawn, under Captain Kyle, a seasoned mediator from Robin's people, was launched, tasked with establishing friendly contact and dissolving the misconception. 3 days on, the Breeze of Dawn neared the human warship Storm at the research site, while the Council watched nervously. Earthship, Captain Kyle declared via translator, "We arrive peacefully. We bear no hostility. We seek dialogue." A tense interval followed before a human face replaced the starfield on screen. A dark-skinned officer with razor-sharp eyes, labeled Captain Sean of Earth Defense. "Identify yourselves and explain your reason in this region." Kyle tried a warm expression. "We are envoys of the Galactic Council, a coalition of amicable species. We have observed Earth indirectly, part of our standard protocol for evolving worlds." Captain Sean's look hardened. "So you've been surveilling us, not spying," Kyle emphasized, "merely monitoring at a distance. Our objective was never aggression. In fact, we came to assure you that the invasion you dread is unfounded. No foe is aiming for Earth." Sean's gaze narrowed. "You're aware of the invasion threat? Strange that you appear the moment our distant scanners flagged multiple unidentified craft moving toward our outposts." Kyle's puzzlement was obvious. "We've detected nothing." "Stop lying," Sean barked. "We've readied ourselves for your return for ages. Did you assume we wouldn't recognize your ships?" Before Kyle could respond, warning klaxons erupted on both sides. "Captain," Kyle's sensor officer yelled, "new signals." 3 vessels just emerged from behind the station. Pandemonium engulfed the council hall. "They're not ours," Damon said incredulously. "Who are they?" On screen, Captain Sean was shouting commands. "Weapons live." "They're repeating that old trick, distracting us while their main force flanks." "No," Kyle pleaded. "Those aren't ours. Let's investigate cooperatively." But it was too late. Storm unleashed a volley of ballistic rounds upon the Breeze of Dawn, a diplomatic vessel ill-equipped for sustained combat. "Dodge!" Kyle yelled, the ship barely limping away, thrusters damaged. Horrified watchers saw Storm pivot to confront the unknown arrivals. Back at the Council, stunned silence enveloped the delegates as the feed from the Breeze of Dawn steadied. Captain Kyle, pale, reported, "High Counselor, the mission is a fiasco." The humans fired first, seeing us as their long-expected adversary. "What are those other ships?" Ethan pressed. "We have no idea," Kyle replied. "Their layout matched none of ours. They bolted when Earth's vessel attacked." Elder Morris ran a trembling hand over his face. "This changes everything. Earth has essentially declared war by targeting a council envoy." "They were protecting themselves," Robin pointed out. "They thought we were duping them." Damon banged the table. "Intent is irrelevant. They struck a diplomatic craft under council's flag. We must retaliate firmly or lose all credibility." Ethan raised his arms to calm them. "First, we require more intelligence, especially about these mysterious vessels. Could they be triggering Earth's paranoia?" While the council quarreled, Lily quietly approached Ethan, anxiety plain on her features. "High Counselor, fresh reports show more Earth ships near 7 separate council planets. Their expansion outpaces all expectations." Ethan gaped at the readouts. The predicament was spinning out of control. "Whatever course we choose," He said gravely, "We must choose soon." 3 weeks following the ill-fated contact effort, Noah burst into the council meeting unannounced, typically a neat figure now disheveled, clutching a data slate in trembling fingers. "High Counselor," he gasped, "I've solved it. I've identified the grays humans keep referencing." The council, deep in debate over Earth's advancing presence at their frontiers, fell silent. "Explain," Ethan commanded. Noah activated the device, displaying archaic images of tall, spindly creatures with ashen skin and huge, obsidian eyes, matching the humans' gray precisely. "From our ancient records," Noah said, "they were called the Voidborn, believed vanquished over 5 centuries ago." Elder Morris leaned in, his aged eyes wide. "Voidborn, they were the Council's adversaries. They experimented on countless species," Noah finished. "We overcame them, or so we believed." Martin studied the old depictions. So Earth was indeed visited by aliens in its distant past. They prepared for the Voidborn's revival and mistook us for them. "Which clarifies their tech focus," Willow remarked. "Look at these Earth weapons. They're specifically engineered to defeat Voidborn methodologies. Kinetic arms, unorthodox stealth. Humans have prepared to battle our ancient foes. Without even knowing we existed," Damon added, a trace of admiration in his tone. Then the chamber door slid open once again, admitting a communications officer. "High Counselor, we tapped into a broadcast from the Earth vessel Storm after its clash with the diplomatic craft and those unidentified ships. They recovered some parts from both. Their scientists discovered differences and now think 2 distinct alien factions are acting in their domain, the ones matching their old lore, plus another group." A wave of reaction moved across the room. "That tracks with our own analysis," Martin confirmed. From the Breeze of Dawn's sensor logs, the ships that appeared matched classic Voidborn designs, albeit upgraded. "But we eradicated them," Elder Morris breathed. "Apparently a remnant survived," Noah suggested. "They must have hidden somewhere remote." Ethan paced again, gazing at the rotating 3D images of Earth's vessels and the suspiciously Voidborn-like intruders. If some Voidborn are indeed back, Earth's anxiety was justified. Robin concluded, "An invasion is coming, just not from us." Shock rippled through the chamber. Earth's hysterical arms buildup might be the galaxy's salvation. "We must warn them, show them we aren't the threat," Robin insisted. "After they opened fire on us," Damon countered, "they effectively triggered war." "They believed we were the Greys," Robin insisted. "It's what we would have done in their position." Ethan eyed the swirling displays, noting how painfully similar Council scouting ships resembled old Voidborn scout craft. "No wonder they saw us as suspicious," he said quietly. A loud alert interrupted, the main display altering to show small vessels assaulting one of Earth's colonies. Council historians recognized them at once. "Voidborn raiders," Elder Morris muttered. They returned. Ethan watched Earth's defenders scramble to hold the line. "We must decide," he declared. "Stand aside or help humans face our long-standing enemy." Over the ensuing days, more Voidborn attacks hit Earth's outposts. Each time, Earth responded effectively, but the tactics suggested the Voidborn were testing defenses. The Council remained split. Damon wanted to fortify Council territory. Willow pressed to ally with Earth. Others proposed waiting to see who'd prevail. "Enough," Ethan snapped. "I've chosen. I'm traveling to Earth in person." The chamber erupted in turmoil. "It's far too dangerous," Elder Morris exclaimed. "They may execute you instantly." "They might," Ethan conceded, "but if we do nothing, we might battle the Voidborn alone later. The humans have readied themselves for generations. We need each other." Despite continuing pushback, a small, unarmed craft was prepared for Ethan, accompanied by Robin, Noah, and Martin. In a show of sincerity, they approached Earth openly, without stealth. Approaching Earth's star, Lily sent them urgent news from Council headquarters. Things have escalated. Minor Council factions, panicked by Earth's spread, attacked Earth outposts. Ethan felt ill. Which factions? The Hierarchs Union and the Boulder Federation, Lily specified. They acted independently. And Earth's response? Robin asked, bracing for the worst. Lily's face was grim, swift and devastating. Earth didn't just defend, they retaliated. 3 Hierarchs planets are already under Earth control. So fast. Damon said, stunned. "How many ships?" "Curiously few," Lily informed them. "Their approach is unpredictable. They'd first target communications, then power nodes." The Hierarchs capitulated in a matter of hours. The Council members exchanged anxious glances. Humans were more fearsome than any had realized. As Ethan's vessel neared Earth's solar domain, they received a standard challenge from Earth Defense, ordering identification or destruction. "This is High Counselor Ethan of the Galactic Council," Ethan replied. "We come peacefully to discuss a shared adversary, the Voidborn." After a tense pause, Earth gave them landing coordinates, not on Earth itself, but on a lunar base of precaution. Surrounded by heavily armed guards, they were led into an underground complex to face a panel of Earth officials, including a stern, stocky man introduced as Admiral Daniel, leading the planet's Unified Defense Commission. "So," Admiral Daniel said, "you claim you're unconnected to the Greys or Voidborn?" "Yes," Ethan confirmed. "The Voidborn fought us centuries ago. We believe them extinct, but they appear to have returned." The Admiral studied him coolly. "Yet your observer craft are eerily similar to their design. That's not easy to ignore." Ethan admitted that many Council designs were derived from Voidborn technology reclaimed after the war. Martin presented old records of the conflict. No offered data on Voidborn vulnerabilities. While the humans reviewed these files, Ethan noticed details in the base. Despite its martial nature, paintings of Earth scenery lined the hallways, and one corner held a young soldier softly playing an instrument. "You're not just fighters," Ethan remarked. Admiral Daniel's demeanor softened slightly. "We never sought warfare. We built this," he gestured around, "because we believed we had no choice. And now," Robin said, "we share a mutual foe." Daniel gave a slow nod. "Voidborn have launched assaults on 7 of our colonies. We're resisting, but they adapt swiftly. That was their trait," Elder Morris murmured. Admiral Daniel turned back to Ethan, a new resolve in his expression. "So, High Counselor, what exactly do you propose?" "An alliance," Ethan said simply. "Your cunning and weaponry, our knowledge of the galaxy, both united against the Voidborn." Daniel looked unimpressed. "Your ships fired on ours." "They didn't," Robin gently corrected. "Yours fired first, assuming we were your enemy." "And the Bowler and Herrick's offensives?" General Eva asked. "Entirely outside our mandate," Ethan vowed. "They acted out of panic. We regret what happened." A long silence hung in the chamber. A younger Earth researcher, Andrew, who was scrutinizing the Council's historical docs, addressed Admiral Daniel. "Sir, their intel aligns with what we gleaned. The scraps we analyzed from both sides' ships clearly differ. And see here." He pointed to old Voidborn images, matches our own records. Admiral Daniel studied the material, then met Ethan's gaze. "What terms do you propose?" "First, sharing knowledge," Ethan replied, "complete clarity about our capabilities and the Voidborn. Second, joint defenses to protect both Council and Earth territories. Third, a coordinated campaign to end the Voidborn menace permanently." The human leadership conferred in hushed tones. Then Admiral Daniel said, "In principle, yes, but trust has to be built. Let's start with exchanging data." It was a beginning. Over the next few days, humans and Council swapped details of Voidborn behavior, vulnerabilities, and technologies. The humans pored over records of the ancient war that supposedly eradicated the Voidborn. "You believe you wiped them out?" General Eva asked. "Indeed," Elder Morris confirmed. "But evidently some endured, hidden away, returning more powerful now." Martin collaborated with Earth engineers, awed by their approach to problem-solving. "Your methods are entirely foreign to us," he told Andrew. "You emphasize brute force and backups, whereas we focus on refinement and optimization." "We prefer not to," Andrew said. "But once we feared unstoppable invaders, we refined our entire civilization for war. Together, though, perhaps we'll be unstoppable," Martin concluded. Their new alliance faced its first ordeal sooner than they'd hoped. 5 days later, a significant Voidborn armada materialized near Jupiter. Earth and Council squadrons jointly advanced, and the Council witnessed Earth's unconventional battle strategies for the first time. Observing through a direct link with Ethan's vessel, they watched in awe. Human warships leveraged Jupiter's gravity fields and magnetosphere brilliantly, deploying camouflage and diversions to baffle the Voidborn's scanning. Their ballistic weapons, though seen by the Council as outdated, shredded the Voidborn's defenses, which had been calibrated for different types of fire. The Council contributed precise shielding and advanced targeting. The united front drove the Voidborn back, eventually forcing a withdrawal. When the skirmish concluded, Admiral Daniel sent an open transmission to the Council, a landmark moment. "High Council," he said formally, "today we stood side by side against our mutual adversary. We propose this cooperation continue." Elder Morris, acting on Ethan's behalf, replied equally solemnly, "The Council concurs. We invite Earth to dispatch representatives to our assembly to discuss full membership in the Galactic Alliance." The council delegates looked on as jubilant cheers broke out among the human crew displayed on the feed. These beings, once feared as potential aggressors, now reveled in the opportunity to join an interstellar fellowship founded on peace. 2 months later, as Earth's representatives entered the council's hall for the first time, Ethan thought back on this extraordinary progression. The council had once panicked over Earth's warlike posture, never imagining that Earth's readiness might one day shield them all. "Welcome," Ethan said to Admiral Daniel and his delegation, "to a new chapter of unified prosperity."